Hi, this is Jim Jordan, the owner of Create Vibrant Health and the author of Your Health is in Your Hands. And today I'm going to do a follow-up video on a video I did last week titled Restore Your Youth and Vitality Naturally. And the reason I'm doing a follow-up video today is that I got a lot of feedback from that video from men and women who were thinking about their men, or men they knew, who really wanted to know more about erectile dysfunction, ED, it's known as, we'll call it ED, and what are the alternatives to the drugs on the market such as Viagra. So if you saw the video last week, I made that video in response to a sudden death from a dear friend of mine that I believe, and many, it seems relatively obvious that a drug, an erectile dysfunction drug, was the proximate cause of death. And let's first talk about how does that work? How do these drugs work? And why they're so popular. They're popular because they actually work for many men. So they increase the vascular levels of nitric oxide. Nitric oxide expands the blood vessels, so there's more blood flow everywhere, including to the genitals. So if circulation is the primary factor related to, or it is a primary factor related to the ED experience of a man, it can work. So by doing that, though, when it's that powerful a surge, and if a man has coronary artery disease, he has blocked coronary arteries, let's say in my friend's case, 90% blocked, it can expand the arteries and rupture or break off the plaque that's lining the arteries, lodge in the arteries, and cause a clot, depriving the heart of blood, causing lactic acid to build up and causing the heart to go as if you have like a muscle spasm, basically. And with no circulation coming in or less circulation coming in and out, the heart just starts to go in spasm and you can die from that. Your heart has to constantly keep pumping and moving the blood through. So that's the danger of it. It's like, I'll give you the analogy. If let's say you're not in good shape, and most of the men that are taking ED drugs have some issues, circulatory issues at least. And in other words, many of them have cardiovascular disease or some level of it, and they may not even be aware of it. You don't necessarily get symptoms, or very rarely. You might not have angina until you're 90% plus blocked in your coronary arteries. So the analogy would be a person who's not in good shape. They haven't exercised hardly at all for some years, and the first thing they do is they decide to run a 400-meter sprint all out, or run a track without warming up. Well, guess what? Your chance of a pulled muscle or some injury is very high. And that's what happens. These drugs are very, very powerful. And if you have blockage in your arteries, there's a really good chance, or if you're on nitroglycerin already, they say don't take it, okay, because you have too much expansion then in the arteries, they could rupture. But for those that aren't even aware of their cardiovascular disease condition, as my friend wasn't, it's a danger. It's plain Russian roulette. So that's how it works, and that's how it can kill you, or at least push you to the edge. And I say there's an alternative. The first alternative is to know what are the factors that contribute to ED. There's a lot of them, and I want to talk about. I had an experience about 19 years ago. I was a little over maybe 41 years old. I had an experience for a period of time of some ED. And I thought, what the hell's going on here? I didn't realize it. I had been more tired lately. I had had a relationship that ended maybe a year before, and I was with a new woman, and I worked through it pretty quick. There was some hormone depletion from stress, and there was some, in my case, emotional. I had not let go of my previous relationship. I was still very attached to her. I had to work through that a bit. When I was fully released of that, I was able to move ahead with a new partner and eating slightly differently and doing a few things and got my hormones up, and then it was fine. So in my case at that age, which was not that old, 41 or so, I could correct it relatively quickly. No need for any drugs, no need for fancy supplements. So each case is unique. There's a unique set of variables that each man will have. But we can't deny there can be psychological factors. There can be stress, lack of confidence. If you don't feel an intimate connection or safe with a woman, you might feel like you're under the spotlight, in playing the World Series all of a sudden, and you better perform. So, but if you feel confident and safe and comfortable with the person, you have a connection, a heart connection. That's why I think sex and intimacy is always better with someone you feel close to. And it's for many reasons, then that's a factor. So you have to look at the emotional factors, deal with those if there's some blockage there, something that's not cleared, get in integrity with what is correct for you in terms of what is appropriate in terms of intimacy. And then once you're in alignment with your integrity, when you're in alignment with your values and you've cleared any emotional things could be blocking, then you're ready to deal with perhaps there's some physiological cause of it. And circulation is the first one to address. That's why Viagra actually does work for men in that sense, but at a price. There's a price to pay. So dealing with circulatory issues is not that hard. There's many things that I see in live blood analysis with a microscope. You can see circulation. You can see if the circulation is flowing or clumped. If you have clots in the blood, if you're dehydrated, dehydration can affect circulation. Eating, not digesting your food properly, undigested proteins, excess sugar in the blood, that can all affect circulation. So that's not that hard to correct either with diet and some supplements and exercise. And then a third element, so we have emotions, circulation, hormones is a third element, your testosterone level. So that can be low at any age too, but it's more likely to be lower when you're older. My experience with that is I had some long-term standing stress and a chronic health issue some years ago that depleted my body of hormones. Temporarily, I tried some testosterone. It was disastrous because if you're not producing your own testosterone, your body might take it in a way that's not correct for you. It could suppress your body's natural production of testosterone, which it most likely will, or it could convert that testosterone into estrogen, which it did in my case, which was worse. I got in a worse hole because of that. So I don't think testosterone therapy is the solution either. And I think I know there's a way to naturally boost your own testosterone. And there's multiple aspects of this factor to address, including exercise, including there's certain herbs you can use and foods you can use to actually naturally help your body produce more testosterone. There's balancing your hormonal system, your endocrine system to balance that, to have it more integrated and functioning right, your adrenal hormones, your thyroid. And there's supplements I use for that in my practice. There's numerous supplements we can use to address that. And then there's also some minerals that are important, like boron and magnesium and iodine, that are very important for hormone production. So once you cover the nutrient deficiencies, you have a diet that has sufficient amount of fat in it, including saturated fat for cholesterol, which you need to make testosterone. You get your liver working right, your digestion working right, you're exercising, some weight-bearing exercise, you have good circulation, you're stimulating your body appropriately, your body, it will start to produce hormones at the correct level. You also detoxify some of the xenoestrogens in the environment. You get those synthetic estrogens down. You'll start to move that equation towards better, more functional testosterone levels. And with good testosterone, or reasonably good testosterone, good circulation, and a clear mind and heart, you should have intimacy that should be very satisfying and beautiful, and it can last into your 70s, 80s, and potentially 90s. I don't know exactly for sure how far, but certainly into 50s, 60s, and 70s and 80s. I know of men who are in their 80s that are able to be intimate with women with no need for Viagra. So there are environmental factors too, so it's a bit more complex, but the general overview is dealing with the emotional factors, circulatory factors, and hormonal factors. Package that together in a system that's unique for your circumstances, deal with some environmental stressors and toxicities, and then see where you are after that. But to do this, you have to give up the idea of a quick fix, which is what Viagra and other companies are aiming for. Get our drug now and get the answer get the result you want now. Bypass, go around all the obstacles of trying to build it up naturally and forget that. Just go for it's like saying, take my credit card here and put all your bills on this and you're going to get everything you want. Well, guess what? No, you haven't bought those things yet. You put it on its debt. So Viagra is a credit card. My program is actually financing it from your own work, which takes intelligence and determination. And in my case, I can coach people. So that's what I do, is I coach you into that program. We can get the result you want, and I'm happy to do that. So for those of you who think this is something that might be interesting for you, you can click on the link below in the notes and sign up for schedule a phone consultation with me from my website. Free complimentary consultation to see how I can help you naturally correct erectile dysfunction, basically, which is a combination of all these factors, dealing with all the factors that combine into where it's manifesting for you as not having that level of satisfaction in your intimacy. So this is Jim Jordan with Create Vibrant Health, hoping that this is information that's valuable to you and wishing you a great day. Thank you.